Okay, well, let's move on to our next topic then. So, hitting issues, well documented. A lot of people are talking specifically about Mayo's problems at the plate, but I want to explore whether it's fair to be singling him out. So the coaches are clearly not landing with the whole team yet, but Mayo is dropping down again. I watched a lot of him at Norfolk, and I think personally he can become exceptional for us given a run, and seemingly with better coaching, maybe sports psychology support. But I'm keen to sort of dive into what you guys think. Grant, can we start with yourself?
Well, I mean, the hitting coaches is something that we don't see a lot of hear a lot of. So it's really difficult to have a definitive view on that. It's obviously not something that's working. We're seeing differences in approach from night to night. My personal view is it's about a confidence thing and a mindset thing. Now, yes, good coaching should be able to build confidence in any sport. So it's really difficult to sit here and say that we should have taken some other hitting coach or we should fire all these guys and get other people in. It's just very, very bizarre how it's working out that we are getting hits, we're not getting them in the right positions, and we're also not getting them from some of the right guys that were playing up the order. We have seen very good seasons from Mullins, or he cooled off a bit. O'Hearn is just a professional hitter. And we've talked about Holiday turning things around. Arias had a very good start to the season. Westberg was just starting to come into things before his injury. He was late to spring training. And obviously Gunnar basically had his spring training in April and has got going now in the Gunnar we know. So there are successes there. It's not like everybody is doing nothing. So I suppose when things don't go well, you do start to look at the coaches, the backroom staff, and change. Potentially, you're going to change for the sake of changing. That is something that happens. But it's really difficult to say if that would be a solution or something that would actually make a difference.
And on Mayo then, Thomas, what are you thinking?
I like Mayo. I was vocal for him last season when he came up. I was slightly disappointed. Obviously, he didn't make the opening day. I was disappointed at his comments that he made, though, when he didn't make it. I can understand his frustration. Look, I think there's a couple of parts of Mayo. He does need to run it up in the big leagues. He hasn't really had a solid, consistent run. But the issue you have is where do you fit him in? Obviously, he's come up and dropped back down. Riviera has came up, and when Riviera's played at third, he's been outstanding. Mayo had a couple of errors the other night. He looked shaky. When he's at the plate, this has been highlighted on the broadcast as well, his body movement at the plate. Now, I don't know whether, I haven't gone back and had a look at the footage from when he was down at AAA, whether that is something that was there and it's being carried on up, or whether it's something that's come about, whether it's nerves or pressure, maybe being back up in the bigs. I don't know. But if it was something that is there in AAA, and it's now causing an issue up in the big leagues, then again it brings into question the hitting coaches. I went in pretty hard on the hitting coaches on Thursday's episode. I don't think they're doing enough. Things clearly aren't working with them. The issue Mayo has got now is where is the room for him in the long run? If he's to get a run, or if he's not to get a run, then although he's under team control, I think obviously come the trade deadline, we're going to be a selling team. So do you look at offloading him? I don't think they'll offload Mountcastle just because of how good he is as a first baseman. He's a Gold Glover. I can't see, unless Mayo gets a run, what benefits it's going to have keeping him down in the minors. As an organisation, we seem to have this obsession or fascination with starving potential young talent down in the minors. I think maybe it might be Mayo that's on the board come the trade deadline. But again, he's under team control. I just can't see them shifting Mancow. If it was down to me, I'd be giving Mayo a run with a potential of, if it works out, you can shift Mancastle on. If it doesn't work out, you can shift Mayo on. But obviously, it's the value in him. There was opportunities last year possibly to move Mayo on. At this current moment, there isn't the trade value there. So it's like a double-edged sword, isn't it? You're pissing in the wind, really.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that they sent Mayo down, because if we take the view that this season is not going to be a successful one, then that's somebody that you want to be playing and learning how to play. Even if it's a poor season, if he gets a couple of hundred at bats, you'll definitely find out if he's going to make it or not. In terms of the trading, I still don't see them trading, although the fact that they've sent him down suggests maybe they are trying to protect him and try and kind of maintain his value slightly, rather than having him go 0 for 30 and then saying, right, do you want to pick this guy up? I don't think we'll trade anybody that's under team control next season. I just don't think Elias is going to do that. Even, obviously we're just assuming that the next few months are going to continue as they've not got significantly better. Kjærstad's obviously the other one who's in a not dissimilar boat to Mayo. He's now had a run of games. He's been good in spells, but he's not, I wouldn't say he's stuck. I think if you get O'Neill and you get Kaiser back, all of a sudden you're saying, is there room on this roster for Kjærstad again, as it was last season? The selling will be the guys that are going to be, out of contract. We'll maybe do a longer kind of discussion on that at some point in the next few weeks, because I'm sure we'll have more to talk about in that side of things rather than the baseball, unfortunately, on the field. So we'll see what develops. We do have players to sell, and we hopefully will get stuff back for them. But I don't see Mayo and Kjærstad being two of those options.
No. Well, Grant, I know you've taken a little bit of a deep dive into the weighted runs created plus stats, but before we just go on to that, Andy, you got anything to add on the Mayo front?
I don't think the Orioles wanted to bring Mayo up at all when I think it was absolute last resort as Urias went on there. I think they were quite content to leave him down there for a good period to keep him going, because as Thomas and Grant have both rightly said, there is no natural place for him at the front end at the moment. He is a first baseman primarily. He's not a very good third baseman, and therefore, unless one of Mountcastle or O'Hearn gets injured or is taken out of the team by trade, I don't see that we can get any position for Mayo coming up. I think the same is true for Kjærstad as well. He's been given that chance. He hasn't yet performed, but we've got to remember that it's a weak team at the moment in the run side, and it's going to put more pressure onto those people to perform, to hit that big ball, rather than work their way onto base. Because if they work their way onto base, they're pretty sure they're not going to be batted in. So they're trying to go for the home run every single time. And Kjærstad is following in Mounty's footsteps in that. And we saw the other night, he was swinging for pitches that were way inside. So something's not right. We'll see what happens, but I can see us agree that we won't put anyone else on the trade block that isn't under team control, because what's the point? If you're going to go for a wholesale fire sale, you've got to rebuild 2, 3, 4 years. This is an emergency to see what you can get for someone and give yourself some value for next year, the year after.
I think, as you've mentioned, Kjærstad there, obviously he's had a good run this year, and I know recently he has been struggling. Obviously, all the bats have been struggling, but I think I've seen enough in Kjærstad especially early on in the season to think, that this is something workable, and I think that maybe that is the opportunity that does need given to Mayo. But again, as we've all said, there isn't a spot for him at the moment, and I don't think, unless obviously there's injuries or for some reason there is. I just can't see where there is a spot for him, but he is probably deserving of that because he has crushed it down at AAA. The stats show it, especially against left-handers. I don't know whether that was why they thought to bring him up and whether they've seen something in the 3-4 games he's been back up. They thought, no, we'll send him back down until the time's right. I don't know, but if you look at the opportunity afforded to Heston Kjerstad, that's the type of opportunity you do want to be giving Mayo. Yeah. But when there's no space there, sometimes you've probably, Mayo might just have to sit on his hands a little bit and wait it out.